Today we're going to go over some kick based in a junior context. I coach a junior squad myself. And I'm going to ask Mitch some questions about how to develop a kick, whether that be a stronger kick for speed, for endurance, how you can use kick in your training session to get better results. Mitch, how are you feeling today?
I'm nervous because last time we recorded this in slow motion, so all of the video was absolutely hopeless. Pretty good. I was impressed with our results off the back of nationals, surprised even. Definitely looking forward to better ways to quantify and predict performance in the future. And keen to see if you've got better questions today compared to yesterday.
Perfect. Love to hear it. All right, so we'll get straight into it. I've got a young swimmer who just came through from a junior squad and is now swimming in the mornings. And her kick is not fast enough, full stop. She lags behind a lot of the group. When it comes to whole stroke swimming, she is one of the fastest, but her kick just lags her down. So when developing kick speed in juniors, what are the non-negotiables to getting a faster kick that'll help in like a 50, 100 or 200 meter race?
Okay, so I think the first thing that we need to do is we need to clarify actually what the issue is. So can she point her toes? Are her ankles locked up?
No, she can point her toes.
Okay. Then to me, it seems like so I'm assuming that she's got range of motion. She doesn't have any hip or knee impingements that stop her from getting into the correct positions.
No, she's very mobile.
Okay. So the next point that I would think around is, does she have the musculature that's actually required to be able to do the motion just correctly within a stable environment? E.g., can she go into like a bird dog position, and can she hold one leg up and actually activate through her legs, or can she do a heel drive? I'm talking about a few of exercises and stuff like that we've picked up from Kirsten Norden with her gymnastics. So when it comes to getting a kid to be able to kick more effectively, you need to look at what they can do on land first, because you need to look at their ability to move when everything's stable. When they're in water, everything becomes really unstable. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'd look at what you can do on land first. And my question for you would be, can she do a heel drive? Can she do bird dogs?
I don't think she has the hip stability to do a proper bird dog, but she definitely has the strength to do a heel drive.
Yeah, okay, cool. So the swimmer that you're talking about, she, quite a fast swimmer, has really good hold of the water. Have you had a look at how fast she is over like 10 meters?
She is pretty good over 10 meters, like can hold with the group, but she just burns out really quickly. So
okay.
I think, just saying that out loud, it's a capacity issue.
Yeah. So it could be capacity, it could be efficiency. So she can either do lots of repeats of it, or she is using too much energy when she is doing it.
Yeah.
So I would ask the question back to you. If you want to get a kid to become more efficient at kicking, what do you think you should do? Or is this the sort of thing that you're stuck with?
I guess that's the thing I'm stuck with. Like I can, because I'm a pretty decent swim teacher, I believe I can fix a kid's kick to make it look the way it needs to look. But when I explain to them how it feels, I'm stuck at that point where I can explain to them how it feels and how it should feel, but I'm obviously not the kid I'm coaching, so I can't feel what they're feeling. I can only see if it looks right.
Well, yeah. So I'd be going and trying to figure out what you can measure or quantify more easy to actually define what her efficiency or lack thereof looks like.
So running through a test set of 20 of like 10 meter efforts and just seeing.
I'd even posit something slightly different. I'd say, why don't you get her to do a 25 kick where you take the splits at the 10, 15 and the 20 and have a look at her speed drop off.
Yeah.
Because you're going to shift from one energy system through to the other. That's how you can get really technical. Or you could just go, the reason that she isn't efficient is because she's working too close to her relative maximum kick speed, so she needs to be faster.
Yeah.
But if she's as fast as everyone else, she can't hold it, then it's likely that she's moving inefficiently.
Yeah.
Next question.
When doing kick in part of your training session, I'm trying to develop kick speed and kick endurance so that they can maintain a stronger kick throughout the race. Should I specialize in stroke, or should I alternate by week, or just stick with like a freestyle as a training stroke?
Okay. You need to look at what outcome you're trying to get. So do you want IM swimmers, or do you want freestyle swimmers with conditioned legs, or what do you want? What do we want?
I say we want, as a program, IM swimmers.
Great. Okay. So you're going to have a large component of freestyle kick with a decent proportion of breaststroke kick and a little bit of fly and backstroke kick sprinkled in there too.
Yeah.
Because the legs are mostly dominated by breaststroke and freestyle in an IM, with a little bit from fly and back from a stability and body position standpoint. Whereas breaststroke, the whole stroke in an IM is nearly driven through the legs, and then freestyle they can unwind and really let loose on the legs because it's the back end of a race, as long as they're fit enough.
Yeah.
So what I would look at doing is I would probably have 60% of your kick as freestyle kick, 10% fly kick, 10% back kick, and 20% breast kick over the space of a week.
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Cool.
When developing kick endurance, what kind of cycle or work to rest ratio should you be on?
Okay. So this is a mistake that I made when I was trying to get kids to kick fast for longer. I focused on the longer first and then thought that the fast would come afterwards. Doesn't work that way. You've got to get them fast first, then you add volume, then you add repeat length.
Yeah.
So what that would look like is, let's say you got really poor kickers, basic junior squad, 825s kick on 60 seconds. Let's say that they can do that and they can all kick them, the 25s, in like 35 seconds. The next thing that you'd do is you'd go up to 10, 12, 16, 25s progressively. Once they can do that, then start back at 8. Or sorry, you can stay at 16 or you can go back to 8. And you can go 8 on 55 or 50 and then build up to 16 again.
Yeah.
And then you can come down to 45 and then 40 and go all the way up to 16, or maybe go all the way up to 20, 25s.
Yeah.
Finally, once you get to being able to kick, or an integrated way in which you could do it, is you might go, so let's say that we do work up to being able to do 20, 25s kick on 40 seconds. Then you move to 825s on 40 and 150 kick on 2 minutes, twice through.
150 as in 1 by 50?
1 by 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you might go, so you've gone 825s, 150, 825s, 150, 25s on 40, 50 on 2. And then you might go, all right, cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go 625s, 150, 3 times through.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go 425s, 150, 4 times through. And then you might go 225s, 150, 5 times through.
Yeah.
Like, as an example. So that's how you can slowly work there. And then you might go 225s, 250s, 4 times through. And then you can progress through like that. That's how you can like transition and move them up. And then once you get them to doing 1050s kick on 2 minutes, pull it down to a minute 40. Then you go 1050s kick on a minute 30.
Yeah.
This is why it's really important to have like enough lane space that you can take new kids in, but you can keep progressing the kids that you've got.
No, we're doing pretty well with that right now.
Cool.
3 lanes each. But it won't be like that.
Right, next question.
Butterfly breath timing. So,
Butterfly breath timing?
yeah.
Yep.
So I've got this young girl, super unco when it comes to butterfly. She's really good in other strokes just in general. But her butterfly is just so uncoordinated. Now, after this morning, I like to say I've solved most of her problem.
Mm-hmm.
She swims a pretty decent butterfly with her head in the water. But I haven't been able to get her to breathe early enough and get her head back down early enough to keep her body position high and then she just kind of sinks and rushes her breath.
Okay.
So what I did is I took her through some Beyondie, which she didn't understand the timing of. And I took her out and we worked on it, and she did it a lot better towards the end. But is there a better drill that I could use to help her understand breath timing? As she swims well as a full stroke, her breath is what messes with that.
Okay. So there's 100 different ways that you can skin a cat. There'd be heaps of different coaches who give you heaps of different answers for this. My first question would be trying to understand actually what the problem is. So is the problem that she can't actually move her neck correctly, so she has to lift her head up and then her hips drop, and that's what causes all the issues? Or is she doing it at the wrong time?
Doing it the wrong time.
Okay. So I think you need to like really go back to thinking like, why is she doing this at the wrong time? Like assuming that her body is capable, strong, balanced, she doesn't have any weaknesses. Why is she doing it? Or is there a weakness that's causing that inhibition?
I think it's a weakness. The front of her stroke, really. And she's not able to grab well enough at the front of the stroke to be able to lift her head up. And then that's why she lifts her head up towards the end and then hangs out too long because she's trying to get her breath in then.
So she shouldn't be breathing until her hands essentially switch from the pull phase to the push phase in fly.
So you're breathing almost as her hands leave the water.
Oh, so she's just breathing too late.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And you want to figure out how to get her to breathe at the correct point.
Yeah, at the correct point.
I'm just like, because I haven't seen it, I'm trying to think of something that is going to constrain the activity and force her to breathe at the correct time. So she's slipping, so her hands end up all the way back there. I'd probably try going paddles and fins.
Yep.
And getting her to swim fly without breathing to start off with and make sure all the timing's right. Like that's going to make sure that she's actually holding water. You'll see her slip pretty quickly if she's not.
Yeah.
I'll start again. The very first thing I'd do is I'd go fly with fins and paddles, but I'd actually go with free kick.
Yep.
Now, a kid can breathe easier when they do a fly kick at the wrong time. It's much harder to breathe at the wrong time when you're doing freestyle kick.
You'd be surprised. She was doing it this morning with fins.
Interesting. So, were you getting her to do it fast?
Yeah, pretty fast. I think.
And then, okay, so the next bit that I'd do off the back of that is if you're getting her to do it fast, I'd get her to practice lifting her head, but she's not allowed to breathe. So she's got to lift her head so that her mouth is underwater.
Yeah.
And what that's going to do is it's going to end up ensuring that she's lifting the head to a position that's relatively very close to where she's going to breathe. But she's still got to maintain speed and she's not actually focused on breathing. She's learning to lift the head at speed.
Yeah.
That's how I'd focus on that. Cool.
Yeah, I'll rate that.
Next question.
When building pool, I found a bit of an issue with just the way the kids grab the water. Should I be focusing more on pool speed or just stroke count to help develop a better hold?
What are you trying to develop? What's the outcome?
Efficiency in a stroke.
Then I'd focus on stroke count. You could also contrast it though. So like a cool way would be doing 25s where you're alternating between as fast as you can and then as fast as you can minus 4 strokes. That's a great way to combine the two.
How do you get more diligence out of a kid when it comes to counting strokes? Is it just something they've got to kind of want, or is there a tactic, if you will? Because a young boy that recently moved up to your squad from mine, he really locked in and was like into counting his strokes and that. But I find some of the other kids, it seems like they don't care as much as I think they should, or it's just they can't count because I'll count their strokes and it's just different than what they count.
This is a really cool thing. So when it comes to counting your strokes, how many times did your mum have to tell you to clean your room as a teenager?
Oh, not often. I was a really good teenager.
Really?
No.
Okay, so why did you not clean your room? even though you were told to?
Escort didn't think it was that bad.
You didn't think it was important?
No.
Okay, cool. They don't understand why it's important. Now, do you think it's more important to have a clean room now that you live out of home?
Yeah.
There you go. So I think communicating the importance. A great way to influence behavior is to measure behavior. So what I'd do is, that the tradie mate paper?
Yep.
I'd get some sheets of that, and every time you have a stroke count set, I'd pull off some things, and I think you just use grey lead or pen or whatever it might be on them, and you just make them write down the stroke counts. They become accountable because they have to write it down. So either they're going to write down some bogus ass number, or they're going to write down the stroke count because they're actually measuring it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm going to shift is making kids record more things purely for the purpose of making them aware of it.
No, that makes more sense. I think with my afternoon juniors, I do that a lot with heart rate in the summer season when we're working a lot of aerobic capacity. I get them to check their own heart rate.
Yeah.
And it seems they're all more focused in general, like overall, but it also means that I am getting that constant feedback of them being at the correct zone.
Yeah, you noticed your juniors are fitter now?
No, most definitely.
There you go. Got to measure what matters. That's something from business as well. So like if I want to make my guys cognizant of the amount of kicks that they do off the wall, then I just make them write down the amount of kicks that they do off each wall for the set. And let's say we have, 8 200s, they write down their kicks.
Yeah.
If I want to make them more cognizant of their stroke count, I make them do both.
No, good.
And like, unless you're going to ask them every single time, the feedback mechanism isn't as good as writing it down and having that level of accountability.
Yeah.
What are you working on tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I'm going to go back into some more dives as speed work.
Yep.
Just like 15-meter efforts, maybe 20 for the faster guys on like 3 minutes. Well, that'll be the main part of the set. And then after that,
What outcome are you trying to get?
speed development.
It's like max speed development?
Max speed development, yeah.
Okay, cool. So from an output perspective, you're trying to increase their neural output, or are you trying to increase their top speed? Because you've got one of two options.
Top speed.
Okay, so you can either decrease drag or you can increase propulsion.
I'm decreasing. I guess my outcome's increasing propulsion.
Okay, cool. How are you measuring it?
Stroke count.
Cool. So what I'd do in that sense, like let's say that we had unlimited resources, get the little stroke rate beepers, limit the amount of kicks that they can do. So you're going to write down their kicks, and then they've got to adhere to the stroke count beeper. Okay. Tempo trainer, that's what they're called. And you give them a set stroke count, like it might be 4, 5, 6 strokes.
Yeah.
And they write down how many strokes they did and how far they got. So they're locked in on the amount of kicks that they can do. Then they're locked in on the rate which they can move. They're locked in on the efficiency. So the only thing that they can affect is stroke length.
Yeah.
Now, or actually, if you really wanted to get technical, you could put it like, you wouldn't put a development kit on a destro, but if you had some form of force gauge, that's how you could really measure like propulsive forces. But you're going to be dealing with the two between reducing drag from the stroke work that you're doing and increasing their propulsion by restricting their stroke count, stroke rate, how far they're streamlining, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Or you could do floating start work with stroke count. That would also work pretty good.
No, I rate that.
We'll leave it at that.
All right, see you guys.